Hey, this is Jeff, and welcome back to Fallout 3 Pacifism and More. Luce is running out of excuses not to tell Elder Lyons the Enclave stole the GECK, but there is that note she picked up from a dead slave on the way to get Dogmeat some armor a few episodes back. It gave us a map marker not far from Canterbury, and it sounds like they might need some help.
Hi there.
Hey, Derek. Maybe we don't mention what happened to Susan Lancaster when we talk to these people. Although she was a former slaver, so they might see it as poetic justice. And here we are.
What's your business, stranger?
I'm just looking for a place to rest and maybe do some trading.
Hannibal says I gotta let folks like you in, but that don't mean I have to like it. Keep your hands in sight and don't make any sudden moves. I'm coming down to open the gate.
Cool, thanks.
Ah, a visitor. Welcome to the Temple of the Union. I'm not going to ask you who you are. For the moment, I don't care. We are all escaped slaves. I need your solemn promise not to betray us to Paradise Falls or the slavers. Until I get that, you cannot leave here. So, do I have your word?
I solemnly swear to protect the Temple of the Union.
Welcome, sister, to the Temple of the Union. Our home is your home. Your past is your own affair so long as you serve our common good. As a symbol of our trust, here is a key to the gate.
What are a bunch of escaped slaves doing holed up here?
We are trying to make a safe haven for all runaway slaves. We give food and supplies to any that find us and help them on their way.
Why don't you let them stay here?
We don't have enough room. There's not enough water or food here. But I have a plan to take over a place that will be a shining beacon of hope for all slaves. I want to move all my people to the memorial site for the great Abraham Lincoln, but I need to know if it's safe. One other thing, talk to Caleb. He'll need your help. We can't leave unless he's ready too.
Hannibal told you about Lincoln's memorial? Well, he doesn't just want to live there. He also wants to restore it. Make it so people tell stories about it and the word can get to the slaves. But I can't restore something if I don't know what it looked like. I need a drawing, a photograph of it.
I bet you know where I can find one.
Yes. There might be one in the Museum of History. Alejandra says they have a special exhibit all about Lincoln.
For years, my go-to route to get from outside the DC ruins to the mall was to go through the tepid sewers to Georgetown and take the metro from there to the mall. I'm not sure why. Habit, I guess. Maybe because Talonmarks spawn over there if you're good, or regulators if you're evil, and I'm not usually this obsessive about keeping my karma neutral. Or maybe not, since they also spawn in Georgetown right where you come out of the tepid sewers. Maybe I got in the habit because you usually get a map marker for the tepid sewers really early in the game, either on the way to Rivet City or doing the Wasteland Survival Guide for Moira. You can also get there through Friendship Station, but it'd be a lot harder to sneak around the raiders there than the ones down here. And there's one already. And I'm sure you have buddies. Yep. Might be safer to jump over the rail than to wait until they're all looking away from the stairs. Yeah, that sounds like a plan. Unless you land right on top of one.
Kick ass!
Gun it. No shooting, so we must have lucked out and she had a melee weapon. They can't outrun us in a lab coat, so there's no need to switch to the power armor yet. Well, this could get interesting pretty quick. Just keep walking. Nothing to see here. Sweet. So close. The good news is we're almost to the exit. The bad news is this is the wrong side of the mall. If the raiders hadn't spotted us, we could have used the other exit and come out right at the museum. The good news is it's still dark. I don't think they'll follow us out here because this end of the mall is crawling with super mutants. We definitely don't want to go down to the Capitol building. Trying to sneak through no man's land would be a mistake. There's a little alley with a super mutant camp between a couple buildings in this direction, but if we keep our distance, they probably won't spot us. If we can make it to the Washington Monument, we're home free. That's the alley. The Brotherhood of Steel has an outpost at the monument, and sometimes they get into it with the super mutants if one wanders too close. This wall doesn't go all the way to the monument, but it'll give us cover from the ones in No Man's Land at least part of the way. When we run out of wall, we should be far enough from the alley to go back over to the buildings. And it looks like this is about it. Yeah, we're good. We're technically not high enough level for masters to be spawning in random encounters, but I think No Man's Land is like the Germantown police station. The bosses are leveled, but they spawn one tier higher than what you'd normally expect to see. And even if I'm wrong, the brutes have miniguns and missile launchers, and we don't want to get hit with any of that. There's the Washington Monument. You could see it better in the daytime, but things can see us better in the daytime, too. Bit of trivia, the real-life Washington Monument doesn't have a metal superstructure like the one in the game. It's the tallest freestanding stone structure in the world. And since it obviously predates the divergence in the timelines, it was presumably rebuilt or at least reinforced sometime between the mid-20th century and the Great War. This isn't quite Simpsons level predicting the future, but 3 years after the game came out, there was an earthquake in Virginia, which I felt in Philadelphia, so it was a pretty big one. And D.C. is a lot closer to Virginia than Philadelphia is. The monument was damaged, but it didn't fall down, and the repairs weren't anything like what you see in the game. So the thing can definitely take a beating. And here we are at the museum. Hey, there's Fox, hanging out at the museum like he said he would be.
Something troubling you, my friend?
Nope, just wanted to say hi. I have to go now.
It is my hope that we will speak again soon.
With the ghoul mask grabbing the picture for Caleb and all the other Lincoln artifacts as child's play. There are some turrets in here, so disable those. And we level up. We'll put 3 points in barter, 6 points in repair, 13 points in science, so we can hack very hard terminals with the lab coat, and put the last one in lockpick. And for the perk, a lot of good ones unlock at level 12. The extra hit points from Life Giver would be nice, and we'll definitely take Robotics Expert at some point, since that gives you a viable no-kill option for dealing with robots. But the top priority is silent running, so we don't have to creep along at a snail's pace for maximum sneakiness. Now, the first artifact is right over here. Lincoln's diary. The rest are in the offices. Although, there's some other good loot down here, including a quantum in the snack bar. Let's get that first. I always thought this was an interesting touch. Very hard locked door, but in the room beside it, the wall's knocked down. Like just once, you catch a break. 2 important things in here. Well, 3 if you include that safe. But the first is a terminal to disable the turrets in the room where Caleb's poster is. The other important thing is on the desk on the other side of the hole. The Action Abe action figure. I always wondered if this was the inspiration for Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. In the caved-in room, we have Lincoln's hat. And the next 2 are in the room with the turret. There are 2 posters on the first floor. They're on the bookshelves, and they're kind of hard to spot because they're framed, and if you're not searching carefully, they just look like more ruined books. There's one, Civil War draft poster. There's the other one, John Wilkes Booth wanted poster. The rest of them are upstairs. Right at the top of the stairs is the picture of the memorial for Caleb. And on the desk on the other side of the hole is Lincoln's voice. This is probably the most exciting artifact for most players, and apparently for these ghouls too. In the display case, we have Lincoln's repeater, one of the best rifles in the game. Completely useless for loose, but 100-to-1 value to weight ratio is hard to argue with. Must be the room next door. This isn't the most exciting thing in the collection, but it's the last one. There we are. Antique Lincoln coin collection. Underworld. Dashwood mentioned this being an interesting vacation spot, so Luz definitely wants to check it out.
Oh, well, would you look at that? We got us a smooth-skinned visitor. Ooh-wee, we ain't seen one of your type in a long time. Enjoy your stay. Just try and keep from shooting up the place.
The meta reason I wanted to come here, well, two actually. First, this is where we'll see the new mod feature, but also, that mission sends us places we wouldn't have any in-game reason to visit.
So smooth and soft.
Thanks.
You know how... Hey, you. Yeah, you. I want to talk to you.
Me?
I need a drink, Greta.
What are you looking at? You'd think you'd never seen a ghoul up close before.
A few, but not many. Hey, I've always wondered, does that hurt?
No, it tickles. Everyone's got to be a comedian. Say, for someone who hasn't seen many ghouls before, you don't seem too bothered. I could use someone like you. How would you feel about working for a ghoul?
Well, I'm always looking for ways to make money. What's the plan?
Not everyone is as sympathetic to ghouls as you are. In fact, some humans are downright bigots. They treat us like zombies, calling us brain eaters and shufflers. Well, I'm gonna make them pay. Before I get into the details, you don't have anything against killing, do you?
Yeah, funny thing about that. As it happens, I do. And I don't think I like where this is headed.
Forget it. I guess you aren't the right type.
And this is where the mod comes in. Crowley's quest totally has a no-kill solution, but in the vanilla game you have to agree to kill people to get the quest in the first place. With the mod, you don't. And speaking of missed opportunities, I can't believe I forgot to do this when we met him in the Skills Dash series, but... Mr. Crowley! Dun dun dun!
Excuse me.
Anyway, let's talk to some of his neighbors.
Oh, a human. Well, hello. Welcome to Underworld Outfitters. It's been so long since I had a customer.
Well, let's break the ice before we start prying. What do you do with the money you make down here?
Well, we spend it at Carol's or the Ninth Circle. But I don't like it there. The rest we give to Quinn to trade for stuff we need whenever he goes out.
Speaking of which, I have some loot to get rid of. Let's see what you have for sale.
If any of the armor fails to protect your life, I'll give you a full refund.
She's offering a pretty good price on the rifle, but the other artifacts, not so much. Maybe we'll find another buyer who's more into antiques later.
Give me a shout if you need anything else.
Does Crowley come in here a lot? What's his angle?
I'm not going to rat on a customer unless you know.
What? Oh, a bribe. Why didn't you just say so? Here's 20 caps.
Ooh, a big spender. Well, it's better than nothing. Crowley has been outfitting himself for some big expedition.
Dr. Barrows at your service. What brings you to the chop shop?
What do you know about Mr. Crowley?
Nothing. Why? What have you heard? You've heard something, haven't you?
Of course. I already know. I just wondered if you'd heard.
Damn. Double damn. He finally got someone to kill them humans. Someone believed that pack of lies he's been spreading. Well, I just hope they talk to those poor folk before knocking them off.
Well now, looky here. We got us a smooth skin that I ain't ever seen before. I'm Ahzrukhal, and this is the Ninth Circle. Folks got problems, and I got liquor to sell 'em. Well, liquor and a few other pick-me-ups. You need anything, you just let me know.
Does Crowley spend a lot of time in here? What's his angle?
If I start telling tales about my customers, I'll lose all of 'em.
No one will ever know. Come on.
Oh, what the hell. Crowley shows up here last year. He's a ghoul just like the rest of us. Now, all of a sudden, he's looking for payback against ghoul haters. Except I've met Dukov. He never insulted a ghoul in his life. Dukov's got the foulest mouth in the wasteland. He's a drunk and a womanizer. But he's no bigot. Go ask him yourself.
Oh, why, hello there. Pleasure to meet you. I'm Quinn.
Nice to meet you, Quinn. You're, not gonna tell me how rare it is to see a human in Underworld?
Me? No, not at all. I'm used to your people. Truth is, I spend most of my time away from Underworld.
Well, that being the case, is the Lincoln Memorial around here somewhere?
Yeah, just east of here. Bunch of guys with guns are holed up there.
Thanks. So what's Mr. Crowley up to?
I might know something interesting if you're willing to pay for it.
Oh, look! I just dropped these 50 caps in your pocket. So clumsy.
Very funny. Crowley has some kind of scam going where he's going to get rich. He tried to get me to kill these 3 guys, but I wouldn't do it. I've met Dave and he's no more of a ghoul bigot than I am.
Now, in the vanilla game, you can't confront Crowley about what you learned until you accept the quest, which you can only do by agreeing to kill his targets. Or you're only supposed to be able to, although there is a bug that lets you ask about it prematurely, which sequence breaks the quest and causes a pretty glaring continuity error. I'll show you that when we get into the modding details, and I did fix that too. Anyway, let's talk to him.
Back again, huh? Changed your mind? I still need to know if you have any problems with killing.
And I still don't like where this is headed.
You're a little slow, aren't you?
And this is what the mod changes. Saying, I don't like the sound of this, normally just kicks you out of his dialogue, whether you got any of his neighbors to rat on him or not. But if you do, now it has that new response with 2 new options. Sharp enough to tell when something fishy is going on gives you the response you'd normally get from I don't like the sound of this, which still allows the vanilla behavior of trying again and telling him you're okay with killing. But Luce obviously isn't going to go that route, so we'll take the second option. I'm a pacifist. If I could help you without killing, I would.
Seriously? I'll be damned. Well, maybe I can work with that. I've got this list of people. Tenpenny is a bigot, but the others aren't. All I really want are their keys. Just bring me the keys and I'll give you the full price anyway.
And that starts the quest. He still gives you a sniper rifle because he has no way of knowing how committed you are to the idea of not killing, and he'll still be happy if you do it. Which is more or less the same path as if you tell him you're willing to kill them and then confront him with the knowledge that his targets aren't really bigots after he gives you the quest. I just think this makes it a better role-playing experience. And by the way, you can complete the quest without killing Tenpenny. Like he said, the keys are all he really cares about, but Tenpenny was a bigot, so he does give you a bounty for killing him. Which Luce did not do, of course. Alistair Tenpenny is already dead, but I didn't do it. That was Roy Phillips, and I was kind of miffed after all the work I put into convincing everybody to just get along with each other.
Damn, he's the one I most wanted to die by my hand. At least he's dead somehow. Here, I'll give you 25 caps for the news, but I'm not going to pay you to kill a dead man.
Thanks. I need to get going. Now, we can fast travel to Rivet City, so we'll start with Ted Strayer. And with any luck, in the process of getting the keys, we'll be able to find out why Crowley wants them so badly and what they unlock.
Ted Strayer, you can chill with me if you want, dude.
Yeah, sounds like a plan, man.
All right, you and me just hanging.
Do you know a Mr. Crowley?
Whoa, that's a blast from the past. My dad knew a dude named Crowley. I never met him, though. I think Dad said he died when they were checking out some old fort.
Do you know what they were doing at the fort?
Nah. He said that old man Tenpenny hired him and some other guys to go in there, but he never said why. My dad made enough caps off it to set him up good, though.
Well, Mr. Crowley wants your father's security key.
Whoa, is it, like, worth caps? 'Cause I got needs, man.
Threats aren't really Luz's style. I'll give you 25 caps for that key.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be flying high tonight.
Now, we don't have a fast travel point for Dukov's place, but the tepid sewer entrance is literally right beside his patio. Interesting decor, and everybody's in their pajamas.
Oh, baby, let me get you something special. How about a Dukov surprise? Never mind, you need a drink. Cherry, need some fucking booze over here.
Ahzrukhal was not lying. Hey, can I have some of that hooch?
Help yourself, clown shoes. Grab one from the liquor cabinet. I never trust anyone without a drink in their hand. Of course, I never trust one that does either. Ha ha!
Words to live by. Someone said you might know a Mr. Crowley. Care to comment?
He's fucking dead, that's what I can tell you. Feral ghouls ripped his nuts off and ate them for dinner.
Oh, you don't say. Where did he die?
A little shithole called Fort Constantine. It fucked us up, but good.
Interesting. Where is this Fort Constantine?
It's northwest of here, numbnuts. A long fucking walk, too. Wankers like you can't get in, though. You need a special set of keys.
Yeah, speaking of which. Actually, Crowley is still alive. He wants some kind of security key you have.
So, the meat bag is alive, huh? Fine with me. Just show me the money. Put your fucking caps on the table and you can have it.
Are you sure I can't just have that key, handsome? You know, as a present.
For you, sweet cheeks? Sure thing. Now, how about I show you how I keep my two bitches happy all night long, eh?
Well, that's a very tempting offer, but I'm in a hurry.
What you doing, honey?
Some other time, maybe?
Hello, sugar.
Now, the closest fast travel point to the Republic of Dave is probably Canterbury Commons. And by the way, there's a bug with Dukov's dialogue in the vanilla game. There are two versions of the Black Widow option. One if Crowley told you he wants the keys, and a slightly different one if he didn't, but because of the bug, you only get the option to tell him that if he gives you the key, you'll lie to Crowley, regardless of what Crowley actually told you. But I fixed it, so we just saw the previously unreachable option where you can just sweet-talk him into giving you the key instead of paying. And now we have a long walk to the Republic of Dave. But with the Animal Friend perk and 2 doses of Buzz off, it should be pretty uneventful. And this is probably where we jump cut to me getting gutted by a deathclaw or something.
I am Dave, President of the Republic of Dave. You will address me as Mr. President, or I will have you executed. Now, are you applying for citizenship, asylum, or just vacationing in the Republic of Dave?
Most exalted President Dave, I am an ambassador from the wasteland.
You are? Excellent. It's good to see that the wasteland has finally recognized the sovereign Republic of Dave.
Mr. President, do you know a ghoul named Mr. Crowley?
There's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Before the people elected me president, I worked with a mercenary named Mr. Crowley. We were part of an expedition to Fort Constantine.
What happened in the fort, Mr. President?
2 of us died, including Crowley. The rest achieved the mission goals and were paid.
You, Dukov, and Ted Strayer's dad. But Crowley is alive, Mr. President. I'm supposed to bring him the key.
Alive? I always wondered. He was locked in with a bunch of feral ghouls. They won't attack ghouls, you see. The key is part of the Republic of Dave treasury. I couldn't possibly part with it.
Mr. President, what's so special about this key?
You need all the keys to get through Fort Constantine. With only one key, there's no point in my going back.
A gift of the key would be a strategic diplomatic move, Mr. President.
Of course it would. I knew that. I was just testing you to see if you would realize it. Here, take the key. It is a gift from the Republic of Dave to the Wasteland.
Thanks. I have to go now.
Very well.
And as soon as he leaves, I can't help but notice there's another quantum on his safe. Not to mention, a safe. Old Painless is a unique variant of the hunting rifle. Very nice for most characters, but useless to lose, and not even worth that much, so we'll just take the money. And while we're here, let's check out the Museum of Dave, which also serves as the schoolhouse. There are some artifacts from when Dave was a mercenary, which, if you let Shauna give you the tour, have some dubious stories behind them. But most importantly, over here we have the Perception bobblehead. Very nice. And some pre-war books for Scribe Yearling. And yes, I'd say we definitely deserve negative karma for stealing books from a schoolhouse. And speaking of stealing, I'm usually conflicted about whether to give the keys to Crowley or go to Fort Constantine and see what they unlock. On one hand, Crowley's not a very nice person. He hires you to kill 3 innocent people just to get their keys, and he'll still pay you for killing them even if you find out they're not actually bigots. On the other hand, a deal's a deal even if the other party is a jerk. But this playthrough, there's no doubt. Luz is a kleptomaniac. She steals from her friends and allies all the time, so of course she's going to go get the treasure from Fort Constantine and leave Crowley high and dry. But I have some housekeeping to do before we head into the northwest part of the map. Lincoln's hat is pretty good, but our intelligence is already 10 and our speech is already 100, so the buffs don't do anything. As amusing as it looks, I'll probably sell it along with the rest of the artifacts. In theory, we're still not high enough level for Deathclaws to spawn in normal creature encounters, but there are some placed directly on the map, and there are some special encounters that spawn them, like the one we ran into at the Anchorage Memorial, so I used Moira's workbench to make a dart gun just in case. With our perception now at 9, we should be able to spot just about anything before it spots us. Now, the question is how to get there. We could start from Paradise Falls, but Raven Rock is a bit closer. Let's try that. There's the fort. This is gonna be fun. Some outcasts. Hey guys, what's happening? Who's shooting? Is there still a robot following me? No, probably coming from the fort. Yeah, what's going on over there? Probably some random creature wandered too close and aggroed the robots in the fort. Whatever it was, it exploded, so probably a hostile robot. Hostile to the ones in the fort, I mean. Everything's hostile to us around here. Except those outcasts. I have seen outcasts or Enclave, or maybe both, get drawn into this area and start a free-for-all, which, if that were to happen, would make a nice distraction. And we might as well start with this little building right here. The CO's quarters. That definitely sounds like a good place to start. Probably shouldn't get greedy, but there's some good loot in here, and we shouldn't have any trouble sneaking around a protectron.
Hold it right there.
Damn it.
Continued.
Well, we got the quantum in the pre-war book at least, and the good stuff is in the basement anyway. Stop it. Stealth boy, skill book, some more caps and a bobblehead. Big guns, useless for Luz, but it'll help the display case look a bit less sparse. Key card. Oh, that's just the launch codes. We won't be using them. And get into the launch control bunker. Unlocked with Ted's key. I don't know if the protectron will follow us in here or not. Hopefully not. And why am I creeping? We just took silent running. Might as well use it. Although, maybe don't go charging into a room before we see if there are more robots in it. I kind of wish we'd taken robotics expert instead of silent running now, because that protectron was probably just the CO's butler or something. There are some much nastier robots in the fort itself. There are 2 skill books in this room, plus the launch terminal that we got the codes for out of the CO's safe. The launch fails if you try to use them. You just get some noise and shaky cam, but Luz doesn't know that. There's the other skill book, and this one's actually useful. Science. Well, not that useful since Lesko's lab. Oh. I was blabbing and let a robot sneak up on me. But what I was gonna say was, getting science to a natural 100 isn't urgent since we have the lab code, but we need it if we ever want to switch to wearing power armor full time. Grab a couple more things from in here and get the hell out. Bomb storage. Unlocked with Dukov's key. And hopefully that gutsy won't follow us in here. No? Good. There's another robot that patrols this area, but I don't see it. No, the gutsy did follow us. We're in caution. Hide in the small arms locker until they give up. Oh crap. The one in here's a sentry bot. We do not want to mess with that. Yeah, I really should have taken robotics expert if we were coming here.
Continuing search for fugitive.
No, that sounds like a protectron, not a gutsy. Well, there was one of each, and the gutsy was stunned. Anyway.
Attention. Fugitive should be considered armed and dangerous.
Yeah, that's definitely a protectron. Like I said, hack this terminal so we can hide in the small arms locker until the heat dies down. I don't think they're gonna give up. No sign of a sentry bot. Good. So over here we have Tara, the other merc that Dave mentioned died on their expedition. She has the warhead storage key, but I don't think we'll be going up there because the sentry bot's between us and that. But Dave's key opens this room. This looks like a treasure chamber. We'll get to the real treasure in a second, but there's some other good stuff in here too. Skill book for medicine, very nice. Nuke launcher, but the value to weight ratio isn't very good. Must be in poor condition or something. Couple mini nukes, that's another story. And over here we have the crown jewels, a suit of T-51B power armor. Use this terminal to turn off the force field. And let's see how good this is. Oh, and that completes the quest. Like I said, you can also complete it by giving the keys to Crowley, but no way Luz was going to do that. Damage resistance 76. I'm invincible! Just not quite invincible enough to mess with a sentry bot. Stop it. That tickles. Well, I've been at this quite a while, so I think scouting the Lincoln Memorial for Hannibal is going to have to wait until next time. I'm going to save and show you the mod details, which were a bit more complicated than it might have looked in-game. If you bail out when I start talking about technical stuff, don't forget to like, leave a comment before you go, and subscribe if you haven't already. So for the most part, this was just a matter of dialogue overrides like you've seen a dozen times before. I overrode MS-14 too good, which is the I don't like where this is headed option in Crowley's vanilla dialogue, conditional on MS-14 not bigots being 1, meaning you convinced one of his neighbors to snitch on him. It gets set to 2 if you talk to one or more of his targets and discover they're not actually bigots, but that dialogue only unlocks once the quest is started, so the variable can't be 2 while you're still thinking about Crowley's offer. If you get here, there are 2 new options, APAM Crowley 1, which works exactly like the vanilla MS-14 too good topic. He says, I guess you aren't the right type, and nothing gets updated. And I was feeling cute, so there are 2 versions, one normal and one for characters with intelligence 3 or less. So when he says, you're kind of slow, aren't you? You can say, yeah, and? But his response is the same either way. Apam Crowley 2 lets you say if I could help without killing, I would, and his response is a mashup of some of his other lines. The result script starts the quest and sets a couple variables. MS-14 New Deal is what gets said in the vanilla game if you confront him about his targets not being bigots after he gives you the quest, and is used as a condition on other dialogue, like whether you tell them Crowley wants you dead or Crowley wants your key. Similar deal with MS-14 Not Bigots. It turns off any investigation dialogue with Crowley's neighbors and targets after you confront him, because you already know and he knows you know. And then it displays the quest objectives to find the keys, which ordinarily you only get if you kill one of the targets and then have to find their key, which is mostly for the case where you killed them before you ever met Crowley. So the quest marker gets set to their corpse, because if you're killing them for him, the first thing you're going to do is search their body, right? Nothing especially unusual there. It just took some digging to find and set the right flags, so telling Crowley you don't want to kill them before he gives you the quest doesn't introduce any continuity errors in anybody's dialogue. But what I found when testing was there were already a couple potential continuity errors due to bugs in their vanilla dialogue. First, Crowley's greeting to ask if you've changed your mind if you blew him off the first time has the say once per day flag set. So if you talk to him a third time on the same day, you get a generic greeting that doesn't have any choices. You just get his top-level topics. Unfortunately, one of them is the topic to confront him about his targets not being bigots, which assumes he already gave you the quest. So he starts talking about cutting a new deal, which, if you haven't actually accepted his original deal yet, is kind of like, whoa, did I skip a page or something? And oddly, sometimes he won't use that greeting even if he's never used it before, which I've seen other glitches with that flag, so I don't think that's a bug with the dialogue per se. I suspect it's in the game engine. But whatever the case, I just overrode that greeting, identical to the vanilla greeting, but without the once per day flag, so now you can't get to the sequence-breaking top-level topic until you're supposed to, after the quest is running. And I also found a bug with Dukov's dialogue. Like I said in the gameplay part of the video, he's supposed to have two versions of the Black Widow option. One where you can say, give me the key as proof that I killed you, if Crowley hasn't told you the keys are all he really wants, and one where you say, give me the key as a present, if he did. But because of the bug, the give me the key as a present option is unreachable, regardless of what Crowley actually told you. And as you might expect, fixing that was just a matter of overriding that topic with both versions and making sure the conditions were set correctly. And that's it. I was planning to take a break for the holidays starting next week and pick this back up next year, and I still might, but I kind of don't want to leave the Temple of the Union thing hanging. You can complete it without killing anything in the vanilla game, so I'm not planning on modding anything, which means it wouldn't be like some previous episodes, and this one to a lesser degree, where development goes down a rabbit hole. If it's just a matter of playing a few hours and putting the video together, I might get that up next week. As for the mod itself, bit of a teaser, but I finally figured out how to increment or decrement the player's kill count with an API call. So all of that nonsense with the fake slasher knife in Tranquility Lane and making surrogates to kill when NPCs die off screen because of the player's actions, all unnecessary. So I'm going to re-implement and retest all of that because simpler is better, as well as finally adding a configuration interface so you can enable or disable features without using console commands. And those changes are significant enough that I'm going to call it PAM 2.0 and release it in January. As always, thanks for watching. We're getting close to last call on suggestions for other side quests that need changes to make a no-kill strategy viable or just more enjoyable. Pretty soon we're going to have to tell Elder Lions the Enclave stole the GECK, and that kicks off the endgame. So if you have any ideas, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time.